Yes, sir. The live has got connected, sir. It is working fine.
Okay.
We'll start in another 5 minutes, sir.
No problem.
Thank you.
I will go video mode and I will start it once we are connected.
Okay. Can we start, sir?
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 12th session of the Generic Talk series organized by RMK Group of Institution. Today's discussion, Arts, Science and Technology, exploring the diverse application of generative AI, opens the door to a world where creativity and innovation intersect with cutting-edge technology. With this note, I would like to invite our esteemed principal, Dr. N. Suresh Kumar sir, to deliver the welcome address.
Esteemed guest of today's program, Mr. Murali Sundaram, Technology Consulting, Gen AI Consulting at Corporates, subject matter expert in various universities, Chennai, most respected chairman, dynamic vice chairman, beloved advisors, respected principals, respected deans, heads of various departments, academic coordinators, parents, and students of the RMK family. Good morning to one and all. Today, we have gathered here for an insightful session on arts, science, and technologies, exploring the diverse applications of generative AI by our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Murali Sundaram. Mr. Sundaram, with over 25 years of experience in the IT industry, is an esteemed expert in generative AI, cloud computing, digital transformation, and security compliance, and we are truly honored to have him with us today. On behalf of RMK College of Engineering and Technology, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to Mr. Murali Sundaram. Thank you, sir, for joining us and sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. I would like to extend a warm welcome to HOD CSE Cybersecurity and the coordinator, Dr. Dharini, for their valuable support in organizing this event. Additionally, I extend a hearty welcome to all the faculty members, parents, and student participants from RMK Group of Institutions who have joined us for this session. As we embark on this journey together, I encourage everyone to actively participate, ask questions, and share insights. Let us make the most of this opportunity to learn from one of the industry's finest. Once again, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you and wishing everyone a wonderful and enriching day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now I would like to welcome Dr. S.M. Shankar, the head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering Cybersecurity, to introduce the chief guest.
Good morning, everyone. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed chief guest for today's talk series, Mr. Murali Sundaram, sir. With over 25 years of extensive experience in the IT industry, Mr. Sundaram has worked with a wide range of clients, including corporates, government agencies, and educational institutions, helping them harness the power of technology to meet their goals. Mr. Sundaram is a highly skilled expert in emerging technologies, including generative AI, cloud computing, AR, VR, and digital transformation. His proficiency extends across architecture, design, and development, making him a well-rounded technologist and thought leader. His consulting work on critical areas such as security, compliance, regulations, and governance, including standards like SOX, Basel, and HIPAA, has empowered clients to navigate the complex landscape of today's digital world safely and effectively. Mr. Sundaram is deeply committed to simplifying complex technical challenges and transforming them into clear, actionable strategies. Known for his passion for innovation and creativity, he believes that the technology holds the potential to address some of the world's most pressing challenges. In addition to his consultancy work, Mr. Sundaram shares his knowledge as an adjunct professor at VIT University, Chennai. He teaches courses like Generative AI, Emerging Technologies, and Innovation Management. He also extends his teaching to other renowned institutions like SRM University, Vailtech University, etc. An alumnus of prestigious IIT Madras, he has graduated in 1981. Mr. Sundaram is a frequent speaker at industry events, inspiring audience with his insights and expertise. Today, we are honored to have him here to share his knowledge. Please, I also join hands with the principal in welcoming our guest, Mr. Murali Sundaram. Please, sir.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me share my screen and then I will. I'll kind of take it from there. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay. Very good morning, everyone, on a Sunday morning. It's difficult to gather people for giving up things that they do on Sunday morning, but I'm glad that people have assembled to get to know about the important trend that is happening, which is generative AI. Thank you, Mr. Suresh Kumar and Uday, and the computer security and engineering folks and students who are participating. I've also extended the invitation to few of my friends and colleagues who might have joined through the YouTube, right? So today we are going to be talking about generative AI, how it has democratized and made the access very easy for everyone in the society to leverage the technology. It is not normally any new emerging technology is very limited to technology community alone. Very rarely it impacts everyone and not the IT people alone. It impacts the arts, the science, the research community, the legal and judicial community, governance, and technology. So it's a very wide application area that we are talking about. So today I want to keep the focus to applications that are relevant to arts, science, and technology. Um, I'm given about 45 minutes, and we'll keep the 15 minutes for a question and answer session. No, the organization is not going deeper into the fundamentals of Gen AI, but the overall operational level introduction about how Gen AI is organized and how it is impacting societies across, and the impact on the respective art, science, and technologies. And I have few more slide packs on what is going to be there in the future. I've given a lot of material on the appendix. You should be able to use it as a cheat sheet in your practice if you will. So with with too much time into that, let's dwell deeper into what is Gen AI and its diverse application. So when you come to Gen AI, people talk about, or the thought leaders talk about three very important things that is influencing people to adopt Gen AI. One is velocity of outcome. That means that anybody who uses Gen AI is able to produce outcome at a tremendous speed, be it content that you're talking about, be it audio, be it video, be it programming, or be it strategy that you're making. Everything is coming at a velocity. Second is democratization of technology. That means there are no prerequisites. Any topic that you take, if you take something like generative gene-related therapy, then you need to know quite a bit about the gene proteins and protogenics and things like that. So every other deeper subject, you need to have some background about it. But the generative AI is breaking those rules, and it is able to give access to the knowledge to all who wants to know about it. So that is the key element in democratizing of technology. The third important thing that they talk about is just-in-time knowledge. You guys might have heard about just-in-time inventory. So you don't have to, you can optimize on the inventory cost, and whenever you need, only at that time you will take you will get the material and assemble it together. It's popularly dealt by Dell as a computer company, and many manufacturers also try to do that in optimizing their supply chain. Imagine that for the knowledge. For example, if you want to solve a particular deep physics problem, or a chemistry problem, or a chemical engineering problem, you don't have to necessarily know about the fundamentals and the background about those problems. If you are able to define the problem well, not necessarily knowing the fundamentals of the problem, you are able to quickly find the solution. So the Gen AI is able to give you the required knowledge. A simpler example would be if you want to solve a matrix problem, which is finding the determinant of a matrix, you don't have to know about vector algebra to solve a matrix equation, right? So those are the benefit that you get. There are also debates about whether it is good for the student community or good for the learners or not good for the learner. There are a lot of arguments about it. Let us keep that aside. But a definite productivity and efficiency comes out of velocity of outcome, democratizing technology, and just-in-time knowledge. With that and background, if you really look at what is generative AI, it is looking at a type of AI that can create new content. It could create content, images, music, audio, video, programming. When you say text, it could be a poetry, it could be a story. It can even create comic stuff for you, right? How does it do it? It is doing this by learning patterns and relationship in the data set. Sometimes it's called GPT, generative pre-training. The pre-training consists of understanding the patterns in the data set and is able to create similar output, not identical to the original data. It's able to create variations on that. The variations can be managed through different techniques, variation encoding, and something like tokenization and layering, fine tuning. These are techniques that are there. You don't have to necessarily know that, as long as you are able to understand as to what are the different components are and keep moving on that. Right? So if you really look at it, so you ask a question, it is able to generate an answer. It may be very, very old tradition of training a parrot. If you train your parrot, at first it will just tell you whatever you are telling. And then finally it is able to give you some answers. The only thing is, it is deeply mathematical now. And a great philosopher of our time and a linguist, Noam Chomsky, calls it stochastic parrot, because you apply the stochastic element, which is a statistic-based deep science into that. You are able to ask any question and you are able to get a nearby answer to it. Excuse me. So I may do a little bit of fast forward. This particular slide pack is available for you. You can always use it, right? So it is able to get the data and apply an architecture called GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. So it's able to identify the patterns in the data and it creates a new one. And the architecture has a adversarial network. And the discriminator will identify which are the good ones and which are the bad ones. And it continuously learns that. And by that, it is able to generate the new data that are very, very similar to the question that you are asking. So that is the engine behind it. And because it's able to take out the not so good element out of it, it's able to get you more and more accurate data for you, be it text, be it records, be it image, be it sound, and things like that. This is the fundamental mechanism that is going on with this. Let's go into the deeper models, what is happening there. It is primarily using what is known as the transformer model, which is NLP-based task. And you give some output, you are able to transform into some other output, So, it could be a poem transformer, it could be a visual transformer, it could be a radiology analyst transformer. So you have a lot of pre-trained transformer that are available. It's using an engine called large language model. The popular ones in the market are ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Anthropic Cloud, and XAI's Grok. And it uses this transformer model. And within the model, it has this mechanism called attention mechanism. This attention is not the social media attention, but this is more like how the data is organized within. And using this, it is able to convert a natural language processing query into a humongous vector or a multidimensional tensor problem. The tensor dimensions are something like 15,000 or 20,000, depending on the parameters that the language models are using. So these are really good. I have given a video link at the bottom that will explain to you about how a transformer is working in an animated fashion. And it will make you understand as to how a natural language processing is converted into a very huge vector-based tensor problem. And that's why you are seeing something like an NVIDIA is coming to the top. NVIDIA is a GPU-based processor. And in order for you to get the AI or ML work for you, you need a humongous GPU power for that. So all the AI and ML uses GPUs very heavily. And you can see the rise of GPU. In fact, there are data centers, and Indian government is using or investing on something like a 25,000 GPU service availability for all the AI initiatives within India. Many companies are doing this, right? So you need a very large, the data centers are exclusively only for GPU. To that extent, you are able to do that. So that is a transformation happening at the infrastructure level. And in terms of the output, you do the pre-training. That means all the data is leveraged and training and classifications are happening prior to releasing the product. Or at the time of query or at the time of delivery, you can do fine-tuning on that. So it depends on the corpora that you have, and you are able to do the pre-training and the fine-tuning. Tokenization is breaking down into smaller chunks. And when you have a large text, it need not be a word. It could be a sound bites that is coming in. If it is a picture, it is the pixelates that is grouped together will be the tokens. And if it is a sound, it's the sound bites that you are having. Those are the elements that is responsible for a pattern. And that is what you are able to identify and repeat it in an effective manner. And you are able to do layers and parameters in the back propagation and some of the algorithms that you are using. And contextual embedding is for any of the context that you are trying to give with respect to the text you are analyzing or with the images that you are describing and things like that. And the inference is the one that will help you to define or identify the next word. This element you would have already seen in Google search. This at a very large scale is what is happening in the generative AI or the chat GPT lookalikes, I think. And finally, the adaptability, based on the natural language, that understanding that you are having, need not necessarily be English alone. It could be Spanish, it could be French, it could be Tamil, Telugu. A lot of things are acting here. You could do translation, Q&A, summary, without a need to change the architecture. Remember, in the software days, normally they will say, when you want to have a new working, then the requirements are changing. You have to go back and define the requirement and rewrite the software again. That is not the case here. And this kind of adaptability for various natural language, using it for visual transformation for audio, video, static images are becoming very large use cases, if you will. Sorry about that. So this is the brief introduction. So let's go into actual application. That is where the actual juice or meat is there, right? So I've given you a few links. Try it at home when you have some time. Try prompting them. I have also given a lot of examples of prompt both from the science, arts, and technology sides. We can explore that, right? So the OpenAI art AI.home, it allows you to create various images, artwork that you can do it by yourself, templates that are there very similar to any of the painter that you may want to follow. It could be Picasso, it could be Raja Ravi Verma, or it could be R.K. Lakshmi, any of the input that you give, the style that you give, or it could be cartoon, it could be cubism, or it could be post-expression, various types of artistic endeavor or painting endeavor you will be able to define there. You could also use, the image is integrated into many of the GPTs now. ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, Dream AI, everything you can input an image. You can ask it to create an image, save them, input an image, ask it to describe it. When you ask it to describe it, you can say, you can change the color, you can change the pattern, you can change the style, or you can mix the two images together. These kind of innovative things that you'll be able to do. That's why the arts is becoming, what we thought as originality on art or creativity in art, it becomes available even for a ordinary man, a man or a woman who did not have necessarily the background or the experience of a strong artist. Well, it's not to say it is going to replace the artist. It is to say that it gives democratize the artistic principles, and anybody is able to take a crack at it. Part of it is probably done by something like a page maker from Adobe and things like that, right? Sometimes you can use the image as a seed. You can give the image and say, tell me a story about it, or write a poem into that. Or even you can go to the extent of asking it to create a movie script in this. These are all possible for anybody. There are no background required. Anybody to create an image, describe it, or create a story or write a poem on that. So this is on the dramatic side of what you can do with the generative AI, right? Now, let's look at some of the trivia that are happening around the ChatGPT itself, right? Entire population, probably about billion people may be using ChatGPT, maybe off by the number here and there. 14% of it is from the US, right? That is relatively low number, 14.82% of 300 million, you can say, right? But look at India, right? The maximum following is something 8.18% at a 1.2 billion or 1.4 billion population. 8.8 is a larger number. It can even probably, it is definitely higher than USA. It's probably higher than even the population, I would say, right? So this is on the adoption. What does it mean by adoption? There are no marketing ploy on ChatGPT. Nobody is doing digital marketing for ChatGPT. Why does it get adopted? Because everybody is finding a use for it. So adoption is the better way to figure out about, how much penetration or the market potential you're having. That's why ChatGPT or OpenAI is one of the very valued company in the VC community. It's at the general public level. It's a B2C. If you look at the B2B, many companies are saying they're saving anywhere between 50,000 to 70,000, right? So you may argue about it, but what is interesting is people are able to save money. How do they save money? By automating programming, automating strategizing, testing, valuation. There are a lot of business activities that you will be able to leverage the generative AI to produce results for you. And I've given a link on that. Just check out the efficacies on that, right? And several tests have been done across different exams, GRE, GMAT, right? Even IAS, somebody has tried it, right? It's able to pass exam. First time it may have some challenges, and subsequent iteration it's able to do, right? And what is the key to, you can do writing story, you can build software, you can pass exams, or some of the applications that we're seeing in that. And how do you do that? For everything, there is this new approach that is emerging is ChatGPT or Gemini. You got to prompt whether you are using a popular GPT tool or you are going through a programming interface, API. Anywhere that you go, you need to have a prompt that will tell you the tool what to do, how to do, and what are the parameters in that and things like that. So how do you do the parameters? I've given some link for you. Go check it out. And paucity of time, I'm just giving you the pointers and you'll be able to check it at leisure whenever you have time. This is more like a cheat sheet. It's a continuous learning. it's not over by this lecture alone. You need to probably learn in a continuous fashion. So with that as an orientation, you can check out all these links at a later point in time. And if you look at it from what people are expecting for the generative AI, people think generative design AI will automate 60% of the design effort. When you say design effort, you're talking about automobile, spacecraft, architecture, civil engineering, websites, mobile apps. There are various things that you will be able to design in an effective manner. And they're saying by 2026, 100 million people will engage in robot colleagues. Some kind of, you can see already agent AIs are very popular. Some kind of a virtual robot that we will be collaborating with. Gartner has said that, right? And while generative AI is going in one direction, there are some challenges with respect to bias it can have with respect to data, copyright issue, because the training that is happening is in the publicly available data, job loss, misinformation, actual true cost, because they will say that in order for you to run one single query in ChatGPT, it can consume about nine liters of water or something like that. Some numbers are there. So what are the true costs? These are some of the questions that are appearing, but a lot of use cases are already there, so people are rapidly moving into that. So, quick touch points on the arts. In many of the competition, AI-generated arts have already won prizes. Documentary movies are made, right? So there are a lot of controversies about it. Some people agree or not agree with that. But so to say, the cat is out of the bottle. So so you can't put it back again, right? So obviously, the AI is making way into the art side, you can see. The second thing that is happening is they are able to mix genres, I said, the Renaissance period, the future cubism or expressionism, post-expressionism, all of them you'll be able to mix. Not only the genre, you can mix painter, the style, color, or even you can even revive some of the native art, like a kalamkari or a tanjore painting, or something like a gond art will be able to do. These are the second part. Third part is, I've given a link that will be interesting. Let me see if I can show it to you. There is something called somebody by name Keith Haring, and he has generated a painting, and that was lost actually, right? So it is only a piece of it was available. So you are able to give it to AI agent, and you are able to complete it actually. Good. You're able to see, right? So this is the piece that is available, and if you give it to AI, it's able to complete it. It's a completed picture, right? So this kind of something that we haven't seen before, is able to do. If an art is lost, if a city is lost, something is not there anymore, how do you get back to it? Is it possible to get into those areas as well, right? So this is the thing that we talked about, right, in the painting side. If you take the music side, Beethoven constructed 10th symphony and he didn't complete it, right? And it takes a little bit longer time. I leave it to you to do the bedtime reading or a bedtime listening. So it's able to listen to the music and is able to complete. And many of the experts in Beethoven music has approved it and appreciated that they are able to complete it using generative AI. So you're able to generate new work and incomplete work by the master. You are able to have a version that could have been completed by them, right? And in literature, recently there was one lady who got the, I think, Booker Prize. And let me show this again. And she acknowledged that she has used the chat GPT for part of the conversation within the novel, right? So this is again a very brave act to do that, because sometimes when you want to take up a bigger novel as your task, right? Remember I told you about velocity of outcome, and if you want to create several pages of dialogue that has a meaning, that has a flavor, that has a soul to it, then obviously you got to use a generative AI tool. So she's able to define the character, and she's able to define the uh, conversation between them, and she has acknowledged that as well. So I think that see, in the music, in the painting, and in the literary world, it's having several use cases. Switching to the technology side, you can see healthcare with respect to radiology, drug discovery, remote monitoring. Everywhere, GenAI is playing a tremendous role. Fintech is the largest one that is adopting the generative AI with respect to compliance, customer report, and risk assessment. These are all tasks done by experts. But interesting thing is, if they are able to identify pattern and leverage the usage, then it becomes a useful one. So it not only gives opportunities for the industry, it is also opening up doors for the academics and other institutions, or even governance and legal authorities to explore some of the ramification of these technologies that is coming in. In manufacturing, we have something known as the digital twin, which is an exact virtual replica of your physical object. It could be a turbo engine, it could be an assembly piece, it could be a factory even. You can have a digital twin on that. Originally, Apollo mission had a digital twin. People used to trace it like that. So the space program will have a digital twin. They will be tied to the original equipment, and whatever happens in the equipment, which sensors you are able to replicate it in the digital twin. And this is post real-time analysis, I would say. It's not, it's going beyond real-time analysis. In real-time analysis, what you have is the numbers, and somehow you're trying to extract the intelligence out of it. But what is interesting to people's appeal is, instead of looking at the number and visualizing it, what if you can get the image itself and see for yourself what is happening? That is where the digital twin is extending itself in offering the technology. In insurance, you go into alternative models, instead of the monthly insurance or yearly insurance that are having for vehicles or people. It is based on risk, right? So if you're able to amortize it to new innovative ideas, such as if you are a driver, only when you are driving, you are under risk. So if you are not driving, you are not under risk. So can you dice the service component in such a manner that can you convert the insurance into a usage-based model? Some things are going on in the direction, automated claim, or some of the things that are happening. This is on the, I would say, data collection and activity side. There's something else is happening on the factory side and on the machine side itself. Something because of autonomous driving. So without driver, we are able to navigate the vehicle. So driving assistance is able to do. Vehicle cyber security you are able to manage. That is, authentication, right thing doing. Then can the car be weaponized, and how do you prevent that? Those kind of things are happening as well. Vision system is important because the autonomous is very dependent on what you are seeing in front or in the side for you to navigate through the traffic. So these are some of the applications that are happening within the autonomous driving itself. Self-driving cars, each of the identified application that I'm telling about has a touch point on the generative AI. So I'm going a little bit deeper into each of the vector. I think that becomes an important one. Velocity of outcome is because of we are able to do rapid iteration and we are able to see the effect of it real time, whether it is art or music. You are able to, you can say, give me a jazz music with this tune, and it's able to get it to you, and you are able to rapidly improve upon it. That is the velocity we are talking about. Automated innovation. The innovation itself, if you want to do it for a 4-beat to 6-beat, or something like a navigation into the forest or through the river, kind of a video that you want to generate, you can automate it, right? So similarly, a conversation, programming, a lot of things you are able to automate your innovative activity itself. So that gives you a speed into that. And the explosion creativity, that means that you can take one idea and apply it to the other. For example, there's something called a blue ocean and moonshot, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit later on. So for your idea, is there a blue ocean opportunity? Is there an innovation? Is there a disruptive potential? How to leverage that? We're able to do that. That is another velocity part of it. And unprecedented scale. What you are able to, if you are able to write 100 lines of code today, you will be able to write 1,000 or even 5,000 lines of code leveraging a generative AI tool. You can write a book within 1 week, right? You can write composition for 1 or 2 hours of music within a week, if you will, right? So this is the unprecedented scale, whether it is with respect to volume or serving many people, you will be able to do. So that is the velocity that you need to pay attention to you. Second is the democratization technology. Remember, I talked about it in the first slide. So democratization is accessible to all. Anybody can use it. There's no bar of age. There's no discrimination on sex, man, woman. Anybody can do it. Educated, uneducated. Even the digital divide, you don't have to worry about it. Why? Because you don't have to necessarily know the reading and writing of it. If you are able to say it, for example, many of the agricultural Gen AI program are helping farmers. If they are able to speak out their requirement, it's able to give them the advice. So even the digital divide is closing at some level, if you will. It's something called people literate technology. Normally, in yesteryear, the technology, when it arrives, people need to get trained in that. But nowadays, technology can morph itself so that it is adjusting to people needs. So that is what is happening in the democratization. And the empowering creativity. This is a slightly different creativity than what we have seen in the before. The creativity for a housewife is different from a creativity for a farmer, is different from creativity for a child. So anybody who is accessing that is able to apply their creativity into that. It could be through online community, it could be through collaboration, something else is getting created. So these kind of collaborative possibility happen because of the democratization that you are looking at. Innovation at the grassroots, you will be able to do it. Problem solving at the grassroots, if you want to solve an environment problem, you want to go deeper and figure out what exactly is the real problem, right? It could come to at home, you got to separate out plastics and the non-plastics in a very effective manner. And you should not be wet, So those kind of deeper problem understanding you'll be able to do. And ethical consideration with respect to transparency, accountability, guideline, So if if a Gen AI comes, does it affect an individual? Is his or her livelihood is getting compromised? Their IP is getting violated? Those are the things that needs to happen. And, there is a possibility to make that happen. That's a second vector that we talk about. The third is the just-in-time knowledge. We call it GK, right? It reduces the dependency on prior knowledge. This we talked about it, right? No, you don't have to know data science. You don't have to know quantum computing. You can check, describe quantum computing for a 10-year-old and a chat GPT or Gemini will give it to you, right? improved accessibility to advanced technology. That's what I said about quantum computing. You want to know about space technology today, you will be able to know. Even the rocket science is not rocket science these days because of generative AI, if you will. And supports rapid skilling and continuous learning, right? For people in the field, they need to catch up. The technology is coming at a tremendous speed. They need to catch up. For example, security is a tough one for many people all the time, right? So with respect to security, if you really look at it, um, coding to DAS to SAS, everybody need to catch up with that. Sometimes because of the work they already have, they may not be able to do that. So you're able to quickly define the problem and educate them and have a smaller modules to keep them up to date on it, on this kind of technology. So it's also giving you ability to have problem solving skills, if you will, using this technology. So just-in-time knowledge saves time in terms of emphasizing on problem solution and analytical capability rather than trying to go to deeper level. So if your job is to look at solving the problem now, not necessarily go into the research part of it, then it becomes more of a tool to help you get at the problem. If you remember from the Newton-Raphson method that you might have studied in your maths problems, it is able to get to the first root in a faster manner because you have a curve and you draw a tangent, it cuts the x-axis, you draw another tangent, thereby you are rapidly moving your root finding ability in a faster manner. So just-in-time knowledge is something very similar to that you are able to solve your problem in a very, very effective manner. So these are the three vectors that you should be looking at it in an effective manner, if you will. Okay. And it is enabling adaptive and flexible workflow. So you are able to do, for example, you will be able to do agile programming methodology. And if you want to change it to some other framework in an effective manner, you'll be able to do it. So this kind of just-in-time knowledge enables you to dynamically configure your software workflow engine, if you will, and streamlines onboarding and reduces training cost in the sense that when people come in, the bigger corporation will know this better, right? They have new, fresh executives, fresh graduates coming. They put them on training for 6 months, and then only they will put it on the training, onto the job. This kind of just-in-time knowledge can help you to fast track it, and you may be able to put them into the job in under less than 1 month, and improves decision making and offer contextual guidance. So even if you want to have a new problem to be, you are doing a firefighting, and there is a crisis in the in the market or in the field, or there is a disaster strike, the pandemic. So you are able to find out new solutions in a very rapid fashion, if you will. So quickly going, with three vectors covering art, we have seen that you can create a historical figure or fictional character. You can generate portrait for them, landscape painting mixed with them, and you can even do abstract composition, user-defined parameter, brushstrokes. A lot of things you'll be able to vary. We saw about the music composition. I can mix between harmonies, between genres, between native music. Australian has something called Aboriginal music, and you can mix it with an Indian music. You can explore with Carnatic music, raga identification, several things you will be able to do on that. Text generation is at the height. You are able to do short stories, poems, haikus, dialogue between fictional characters. For example, I created a dialogue between Adi Shankara and Oppenheimer and myself discussing about the ethics of AI. So these kind of things you may be able to do. And then finally, the image manipulation, you can have photorealistic. This you might have seen in many of the WhatsApp groups and WhatsApp paintings and things like that. Style transfer, morphing images are always possible in that. You can have new games designed in that. And fashion industry is something that is adapting on the fashion trend, new outfit, weather-based outfit, designer-based outfit you are able to do. Data visualization is going through some rapid changes. Language translation and language generation is going through tremendous uptake on that. So each of the area that I'm talking about is a separate project. If you are looking at for project ideas to implement it, I think you have a treasure wealth of things available for you in this slide pack. And what is interesting is, whatever we have seen, art, science, and technology, we have seen it in isolation. What is interesting in Gen AI is you are able to mix between the two. For example, art and technology, you can mix, right? To leverage algorithm and merge to artistic style and collaboration between artists, you are able to do. Medicine and data science integration, music and machine learning harmony, fashion design and computational creativity. There is a video where BMW is working on taking somebody like Van Gogh's painting, and multiple paintings are there. They're all adapted together and they use it for their car design. And not only that, the car outer design will not stay with one design and it can change over a period of time. It can change its color. So the automobile is going through some appreciation of art, and at the same time, retro way of appreciating some of the traditional things. So this kind of new orientation is happening as well because of the Gen AI feasibility, if you will. Environmental science and simulation, architecture and virtual relation. I'm going through this because I'm just keeping a tab on the watch. So let me fastly go through that so that you get introduced to the topic and you are able to go through this at leisure when you have time. Architecture and virtual reality innovation, people have talked about it for a long time, but now you will be able to create the content because of the velocity of speed, democratization that is there, and just-in-time knowledge. Education and natural language, entertainment and robotic synergy, these are the things that you'll be able to do. In order to do this, somebody need to create something known as a playground. In playground, you have various components that will be there. It will be model, it will be algorithms, it will be application specialists that will be there. It's slightly different from science, the software development that we've seen in the past. In software development, we have requirement, code development, testing, and deployment. But whereas in data science, you have models, you have test data, you have training data, you'll be able to validate the model, fine-tune them. And what you need to do is probably adjust the parameters. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do any coding on that. So that is why in order to achieve the result that you want, a person need to be knowledgeable about data. So that's why the data scientists are very popular these days. So some of the playground idea, it's not a platform because platform will allow you to build solutions. Playground will allow you to play together and develop your own services, if you will. You can have an art studio, you can have a music lab, storyteller corner, and design workshop. All this itself is telling you the higher collaborative infrastructure that you have and the individual component that will be able to help you on that. For code, there are many playgrounds that are available now, from Copilot all the way up to OpenAI playground and things like that. Interactive experience, community hub, something like the Hugging Face is the community lab. And personal technology lab, we are going in a direction where you may have a personal LLM in the future, just like the PC that we have. You will be able to have a personal LLM in the future, right? Future needs to be very creative. You need to augment the human creativity personalized content creation. When you say personalized, every individual should be able to create the personalization. The key is cross-disciplinary. You don't have to be an exclusive discipline in one area alone, not like a chemical engineer or a behavioral economist and things like that. You are able to go across different disciplines and innovate on that. Democratizing creativity, exploring new frontiers. When you say new frontiers, create a virtual world. Imagine about an exoplanet that is there. Imagine about space technology and space exploration. These are the new frontiers that we need to be thinking about. In order for us to think totally new, we have to look at interactive generative model we could do. Multimodal is already popular, but it is not only voice, text, and video images. It can be sensor data. It could be output information. It could be infrared picture, or it could be sonar data. Different kind of data you should be able to do. So you are able to manipulate effectively and generate the output in an effective manner. And controllable generation is the future. Generative adversarial network simulation. When you talk about new material identification, when you talk about something like quantum computing or next level of machine learning algorithm, those are the things that we need to be looking at it into the future. And ethical AI and bias mitigation is the one that we need to focus. It's a very fresh area. A lot of people don't know about it, how to measure it, and how to improve upon it, because it has a touch point on the security level as well. The things to reflect, you got to go back and think about it. So far I've been talking about solutions and creations. This one is, we need to reflect upon it. We have to think a little bit about how to be creative as a society, creative collaboration, how to leverage the tool for this, ethical consideration, and what is the cultural influence that we'll be able to leverage, apply AI into that. Human AI interaction, a lot of apprehensions about if AI will take away our job, but instead of that, can we leverage the AI so that your productivity is improved? So our value is much more improved on that, right? And the final one is unforeseen possibility from the positive as well as the negative side. Positive is on the blue ocean and the moonshot, and the negative side on the black swan, they will say sudden crash in the market, sudden pandemic, a lot of disaster may be happening. So our society is blocked in that. In that case, how do you work out a recovering society for that? How do you make that happen? So those are the things that we need to reflect upon and generate solutions for that. Given tooling, there are about 400 large language models, and about 40 of them are open source. So these will tell you about what are the open source models. Some of them are public, some of them are private, something like a Mistral 7B or a 5 or Gwen or models which you can run it in your laptop. These are open source. You will be able to download it and leverage it as well, right? So a quick one on the outside-in perspective. Remember I told you there are models available. These are market companies that are there in the market, right? You see text, video, image, code, speech, 3D, and other gaming related companies are there. And you see a fine print at the bottom. These are the models that are already there. Remember I said, when you are looking at marketing or AI assistant or image creation or video creation, you will be able to leverage this model, apply your data, and you can be ready in a solution within a week or maximum 10 days, even if it's a very complicated one. That is the power of generative AI I want to think about, right? So each of the area is planned out here. You can use either commercially available tool or you can use open source and keep the cost lower. Academics, it's a great opportunity for them to do. Just like GitHub, there is Hugging Face available. lot of models are out there. You'll be able to leverage the model and quickly build up a solution. A rapid solution, not like the rational growth kind, but a real kind, which will help you to do it. Some are even half a day. I've done some workshop for SRM. People have done it in half a day. Those are possible for you. This is the application landscape. This is remember the full stack that we talked about. At the top, we have the chips that are helping us. NVIDIA, Qualcomm, these are the chips that are there. And just below that, you have cloud. And then you have the foundational model. Normally, in this area, in cloud, they will have something like a platform as a service. But in the new full stack, you have foundational model. You have application that you can handcraft it yourself. Some of them are text force, some of them are image force, some of them are programming force. So different models are there. You may be able to extend it as well. Which industry is it applicable? I would revert the question and say which industry is it not applicable? Right? From design, finance, insurance, games, biotech, pharma, everywhere it will be applicable. And all the countries are interested in that. So this is the futuristic full stack of how Gen AI is impacting. This one is talking about, the top is talking about the use cases, and the bottom is talking about the models that are available that you will be able to leverage. This again, I was telling you, it's a cheat sheet that you'll be able to look into that. So this is very important, both from the academic side and from the application side. There's this company called Anderson Consulting, Anderson Horowitz. I'm sorry, not Anderson Consulting. So the future of app, they're thinking that it is not going to be app or web-based. It's all going to be LLM-based. So LLM, if you really look at it in terms of services or in terms of questions you may have, it has a natural language interface. So anybody will be able to use, no bot. You don't have to know the application, download the application, get trained in the model and things like that. So if you question that, then the LLM will parse it, take it to different databases, take it to different websites, get services from various architecture that you have, stitch it together and give you the application. So the future is going to be LLM interlaced application development, and the data path as to how LLM services are tracking, how the internal activities are tracking is given in the picture. This is the LLM application stack. And what you have is the prompt becomes an important one. So there are courses for prompt engineering. You might have seen it in the internet a lot. So prompt becomes, if you're able to ask the right question, you're able to get the question very fast on that. So that becomes very important. So prompt engineering is gaining a lot more prominence. A prompt engineer can get north of $200,000 a year, or $300,000. Those are the kind of things that we are talking about, right? So how does it work in the prompt engineering, and how you are able to leverage something known as a RAG architecture for enterprises? So the enterprises don't want the public LLM, they want private LLM. So you have private GPT and you have LLM router, you have RAG enterprising. So these are the engineering activity that are happening around the Gen AI tools. Okay. So finally, I'll give you a brief about the blue ocean. Blue ocean are new business market opportunities. When cloud came, it was not existing before. It is a blue ocean opportunity, right? Whereas if you look at something like Tesla electric car, that is a moonshot, or something like a driver autonomous car, that is like a moonshot, because Google didn't want a driver. They want to dramatically change the landscape. So there are blue ocean and moonshot opportunities, and you are able to explore some of them. Okay. And that is what I've given here. This is on the technology impact of generative AI, and these are the LLMs that are out there, right? Key benefit for technologies because of them. Then I'm going into arts. In arts, I have various applications that are already existing now, right? And these are the one when you look at something like a BO, that's a blue ocean. MS is a moonshot. Look at it and imagine that, right? Generative power, collaborative, art experience is the business blue ocean that you will be able to design in future. Whereas if you look at AI-powered virtual reality museum of lost artworks, remember the Keith Haring I was talking about? That is a moonshot. If you are able to create this, that is a separate business opportunity, something like a space tourism. You have a real hotel in space or have a hotel in moon. People can have honeymoon, real honeymoon. Right? Those are moonshots, right? So I've created some in arts, science, and in technology, right? So all of them are making you think hard about what is that I want to do, develop it with respect to arts, science, and technology. Be assured, if Gen AI tool were not to be there, in order to get even to one particular area, it may take about a year or so for us to do it from a community perspective. So if you're able to leverage generative AI and make rapid progress and democratize it to all the people, so it becomes a real utopian or a dream come true for us. So we can leverage arts, we can leverage science, and based on that, we'll be able to leverage technology on it. I'll finish it with this one. This year's two Nobel Prize, physics and chemistry. They were all different. Jeffrey Hinton is on how the memory and deep learning is stored. Right? Both the chemistry and physics. There's also controversies on that. Are based on or leveraged machine learning, generative AI in a deeper fashion. So with that, I will wrap up. I think I might have taken uh, taken a little bit more time. My apologies for that. So with that, let me finish that and keep the floor open for any questions people may have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the useful session. We have a few questions from our students.
Okay.
Okay. The questions are from Kokila and Akash. As generative AI is used more in important areas like healthcare, law, and education, what rules or guidelines do you think we need to make sure it helps everyone fairly? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can you hear my question, sir?
Can you repeat the question? I heard the first part. The second part.
Okay. As Gen AI is used more in important areas like healthcare, law, and education, what rules do you think we need to make sure it helps everyone fairly?
So it's a very good question, very complex question. So these are all practices related one. There is no magic pill that will say if you use this, everything will be all right. It's not like that, right? What you need to do is you have to evolve practices because how does a bias happen, or how does a crime happen, or how does rules happen, and when rules are there, people violate the rule. How does those things happen? Those things happens when people use it and they find a hole. They're tempted to exploit the rule, and because of that, there is a violation. So it needs to be a constant vigilance on the data, the logs, and figuring out what is important in terms of what piece of matter to us. Is it a material weakness or is it a cosmetic level change? So with those guidelines and the rules that you have, you need to be able to constantly plugging in the holes, if you will. For example, I'll give you an example. Right? There is ransomware that is happening everywhere. Right? So ransomware is people find an entry, get into that, encrypt the data, and demand bitcoins on that because anonymous exchange for that. Right? How do you block it? There are no solutions for it today, right? So you just have to make sure you have to fortify your infrastructure so that there are no unauthorized entry or untrusted entry into the environment. for developing your policy and developing compliant rule, you could use Gen AI. That is definitely possible for that. I think for a given problem, you will be able to define a solution leveraging AI, and that is not all. You just need to continue to be vigilant about what other exploitation is happening and continuously update on that. I hope it makes sense.
Yes, sir. Thank you. One more question. How do you think Gen AI will affect jobs in creative fields and knowledge work? Are there certain things that only human will always be able to do well?
This is the most asked question in conferences to the expert and things like that. The answer to that is a little bit complex, right? And that again, no, there is no single answer to that, in my opinion. So you got to go from, I give this as an example. 15 years before, facial identification was there. And when that came, people thought human can identify faces better than machines or algorithms. They used to think, from a crowd, you are able to identify your relative or a friend in a much better fashion. But today, if you look at it, facial identification has gone very far, right? They are better than human today. 15 years back, we had a different opinion about it, right? Now, today's human capability, in 15 years' time, we would have surpassed. But in 15 years' time, with the use of a computer and their language, we would have moved a little bit further, right? So it is going to be a place where we have to look at it like a collaborative work between human being and the virtual agents. And when you are together, you are able to get higher productivity. And when you have higher productivity, there will be some separation between who is very good at it and who is average about it. So the average people will be left out. And the average people are left out not because they are human, okay? Not because they don't know, they're not adapted technology. Only because as a group, you are comparatively less efficient. You have to look at it like a business or technology problem than the human being. So a lot of empathetic approach is also there to keep the human in the loop. How do we keep the humanity intact so that everybody gets a job and you are able to get higher productivity? Those kind of deeper thinking are going on as well.
Thank you, sir. Last question. If generative AI keeps advancing, which field might look totally different in 10 years?
That is a very good question. So somehow they feel that I have felt, recently a lot of space technology has assumed quite a bit of attention. And we made a lot of progress. India has about 100 startups. Agnikul is a company that is 3D printing rocket engines, because you can't have assembled engines in the space, right? So bright future for India, especially South India. We are closer to equator. So launch space is better in South India. Some may argue even that that even south of South Sriharikota, that's why you are having something in Tirunelveli, I think, Mahendrapuram. So for the rocket launch, it need to be closer to the equator, and you need a sea on your right hand side. So all good feasibilities are there. So one is space technology. There are several business opportunities. According to McKinsey, there is $1.3 billion business opportunity. I'm not talking about research. Business opportunity is there. Right? If you leverage generative AI for empowering knowledge to the next generation and onboard a lot more space engineers into that field can look completely different, according to Elon Musk, which is a very ambitious one. I think it's good for the humanity as well to put 1 million people in Mars. If you're able to put 1 million people in Mars, that landscape will definitely have generative AI as a key component in helping us in each of the steps. It may be a small step for humankind, but a giant leap for the mankind, quoting from JFK. Right. So I think, space technology, new material, or even quantum computing, that is going to completely change the landscape of computing in a very dramatic fashion. That is for probably another lecture. What is happening in quantum computing is for probably another lecture, I would say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Hope the students have got their answers. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us, sir. So now I would like to propose the vote of thanks as we conclude today's session of the 12th Generic Talk series. It's my privilege to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who contributed to making this event a success. First and foremost, I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Mr. Murali Sundaram, sir, for sharing his valuable insights on art, science, and technology, exploring the diverse applications of generative AI. Your perspectives have truly expanded our understanding of how Gen AI can bridge the world of creativity and technology, inspiring us to think beyond conventional boundaries. A special thanks to our chairman, vice chairman, advisors, principals, and deans of RMK Group of Institution for their continued encouragement vision, which empower us to explore and learn through such enriching programs. Lastly, a big thank you to all the attendees for your enthusiastic participation. Your presence and engagement are what make these sessions meaningful and impactful. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.